Hello friends, welcome to Mechanical Engineering online classes. Today's lecture will be delivered by Miss Shravanti Sriramoju.
Now we will perform the torque analysis of a conical pivot bearing. The figure shows a conical pivot bearing attached to a conical shaft. The load acting is capital W, the total axial load is capital W, and the angular velocity of the shaft is given as omega. Alpha is the semi-cone angle which is indicated here. This is alpha. This is a semi-cone angle, and small l, which is shown here, it is the slant length of the cone, or you can say that it is the length of the generator of the cone. The top view of the shaft and bearing assembly is shown here, where a differential element which is in the shape of a circular ring shown in red color is assumed, and the radius of that is taken as small r, and the thickness of that elemental ring is dr. So this dr is the thickness of the circular ring when you see from the top, that is the horizontal distance. This dr is the horizontal distance when you are looking from the top. And we have again assumed a thickness dl which is measured along the slant length of the cone. This is the slant length of the cone. So this length from this point to this point, this thickness is taken as dl. So this is the slant thickness and this is the thickness of the closed rings. And we are again assuming that there is pressure P which is acting normal to the surface of cone. So the direction of the pressure is shown with these arrow marks. Now we will try to zoom in this portion and draw what is happening exactly there. The figure will be somewhat like this. As we have already discussed, the horizontal thickness is assumed as dr. This I am talking about the ring, the elemental ring. So the horizontal thickness is dr and the slant thickness is dl. This is dl. And there is pressure P acting normal to the surface of cone. So that we have shown here with the help of an arrow mark. So what is the length angle subtended by this pressure the pressure with respect to horizontal? It will be alpha, because this is alpha. This is the semi-cone angle. So that will be same as the angle made by the pressure with respect to horizontal. Now if we resolve the P along horizontal and vertical components, the horizontal component will be equal to P cos alpha and the vertical component will be equal to P sin alpha. So this is the enlarged view of this portion. So there is a right angle triangle here where this angle is 90 degrees. This is a right angle triangle with 90 over here. So I will try to write dl and dr in terms of alpha. So from the right angle triangle, sin alpha will be opposite side is dr divided by hypotenuse which is dl. So dl sin alpha is equal to dr. So if I want to find out what dl is, then it is dr divided by sin alpha or dr into cosecant alpha. Now let us again write the area of the elemental ring, which is indicated as dA. dA is the area of the elemental ring, which is 2 pi r into dl. The slant length is considered. 2 pi r is the circumference multiplied by another length, the slant length will give you the area. So I can replace dl with dr cosecant alpha. Now we have to again find out what is the normal load that is acting on the elemental ring alone. So if we assume that it is, if we indicate that as dWn, this is the normal load acting on the elemental ring. So it will be equal to normal pressure multiplied by area of the ring. So P is the normal pressure multiplied by area of the ring is 2 pi r dr into cosecant alpha. Similarly, we can also work out a relation for the normal, the vertical load acting on the ring. So let us assume that dW is the vertical load on ring. That will be equal to, what is the vertical load? We have to again resolve the normal load. So P we have already resolved. What is acting in the vertical direction? It is sin alpha. The component is multiplied by sin alpha. So here dW is the vertical pressure multiplied by area of the ring. So vertical pressure is P sin alpha into 2 pi r dr cosecant alpha. So I can cancel out both cosecant alpha and sin alpha. So I will be left out with 2 pi r p dr. So this is dW. Again, the frictional resistance offered by the ring, I am indicating it as dFr. The frictional resistance offered by the ring will be mu into normal force. Mu into normal force here is dWn, which is acting normal to the surface, the slant surface. So this is dWn, the normal load. So mu into dWn, we have already established a relation for dWn. I am rewriting that. It is equal to 2 pi r p dr into cosecant alpha. Similarly, I can also write the frictional torque as dTr, which is dFr multiplied by r. So the whole this above equation can be multiplied by r. It is mu into 2 pi into r square p dr cosecant alpha. Now we have to consider both the assumptions, uniform pressure theory and uniform wear theory, to find the total torque T. First, considering the uniform pressure theory, according to which pressure is uniform and is equal to load divided by bearing surface area, which is W by pi r square. Please remember, this is capital R. Now I will try to integrate this equation. I am naming this equation as 1 on both sides. 0 to t d tr is equal to So the radius small r varies from 0 to capital R. Mu p into 2 pi r square dr into cosecant alpha. Which is equal to 2 pi mu p, these are all constants, and cosecant alpha is also a constant, integral r square dr varying from 0 to capital R. So this will be 2 pi mu p cosecant alpha r cube by 3 0 to R. 2 pi mu p cosecant alpha into r cube by 3. So I can rewrite this as 2 by 3 pi mu p I am rewriting as w by pi r square cosecant alpha can be written as 1 by sin alpha into r cube. So I can cancel out pi r square. I will be left out with 2 by 3 mu w r by sin alpha. This is the torque. On the left hand side, if I integrate, it is dtr integrated from 0 to t. You will get t on the left hand side. So t is equal to 2 by 3 mu w r by sin alpha according to uniform pressure theory. So this is the torque required to overcome the friction between shaft and bearing surface for a conical pivot bearing by considering uniform pressure theory. Now let us consider uniform wear theory, according to which P into R is constant. So I can write P as C by R. dW. Let us again go back to the previous part of the derivation and write down what dW is. It is 2 pi P R dr, which is equal to 2 pi, I am writing P as C by R, R dr. So it is 2 pi C into dr. Now if I integrate this on both sides, two pi c dr varying from 0 to capital R, then I get W is equal to 2 pi c into capital R. So from this I can write C as W divided by 2 pi capital R. Now consider the equation 1 dtr is equal to mu into 2 pi r square p dr cosecant alpha. Equation 1. dtr is equal to mu into p into 2 pi r square into dr cosecant alpha. I have just rewritten the dtr equation, that is equation 1. Mu into p can be written as c by r into 2 pi r square dr into cosecant alpha I can cancel out R. Mu into C into 2 pi R dr cosecant alpha. Now I will try to integrate this equation on both sides. dtr integral 0 to t dtr is equal to integral mu c 2 pi r dr cosecant alpha. I can take out 2 pi mu c and cosecant alpha also. I am writing cosecant alpha as 1 by sin alpha. Integral 0 to r dr. So this can be again written as 2 pi mu c by sin alpha into r square by 2. It is mu pi c by sin alpha into r square. I can now again substitute the c formula back in this relation. C, I got c as w by 2 pi r. W by 2 pi r sin alpha r square. Pi and r can be cancelled. So I will get 1 by 2 mu w r by sin alpha. This is the T value or the torque required to overcome friction for a conical pivot bearing using uniform wear theory. So I can again write the power lost in overcoming friction as 2 pi nt by 60 watts.
Thanks for watching. If this video was of help to you, please like it and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.